If you feel like that your brain doesn't shut up and always feeds you with negative thoughts, don't despair. You are not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. It is simply that your brain is still running these old survival programs and hasn't really learned how to see the world differently and how to keep you safe in a much more toned down and still very efficient way. And that is possible. And it is possible because there is something inside of us that is called neuroplasticity, which basically means that our brain is not only working, it's actually reorganizing itself all the time. I mean, we know when people had a stroke and they are losing certain abilities like speech or, being able to make decisions, and eventually other parts of the brain are jumping in and taking over, and whatever area of the brain doesn't work anymore, it can be replaced through training, through consistency, and eventually people will not even notice that there is a big difference. And so here are the 3 steps and how you can reprogram your brain out of negativity. The first step is to interrupting the pattern. I think interrupting the pattern is an incredibly powerful tool. It's a little bit like a shock to the system. It's when you train a dog to not run after a squirrel, so you pull it on the leash and it wonders what happened here, and then it realizes, okay, I guess that's not okay. And this moment when you interrupt it, that's critical. It needs to be within 5 seconds of that negativity starting, because otherwise the negativity just mushroom clouds and takes over, and then you are not even aware of that it's negative because you feel it's reality. But negativity is not reality. Negativity is only one interpretation of reality. I loved that. I think maybe I came up with this, but whenever I have a good idea, usually Danielle says that she came up with that idea, so who knows. But when we noticed at the first 2 days of our hike on the Compostelle that we have this pattern of not being able to hold a high vibration, a positive or joyful mindset, and just dipped into these little rabbit holes of negativity. When we realized this, one of us said, well, I think when I see you being negative, I just gonna pull my ear to indicate to you that you have started down on the negativity train. And it was really funny because, pulling ear, kind of a funny thing. It didn't have to hurt, but it's definitely a good signal. And so then we started to pull our own ears when we were starting to get negative. And what I noticed is, A, it was something we always smiled about, and B, because we did it right away, it just stopped in the tracks. This negativity didn't really take over. Maybe you have great ideas that you have tried, and you could just put it into the comment section. But interrupting the pattern is the first step. You also take charge. You're indicating to your brain, oops, stop, not doing this. I'm in charge. I choose what direction we're going to go. We're not going down. We are going either straight or we're going up. Cool. Number 2 is either. When your negativity is about complaining, and complaining is such a big part of negativity. Complaining about other people, complaining about the weather, complaining about our bodies, complaining about, the boss, the kids, the spouse. It's this constant criticism. And so to stop the complaining after you interrupted it with this or other ways, you can ask 3 simple questions. Number 1 is, what is this person or this situation I'm in inviting me to learn or change? So just really getting out of this almost self-victimization where we feel something is done to us, or someone does something to us, and turning the tables and feeling like, okay, I can actually choose now to learn from this. I can choose to grow from this. And I also get this way out of the resistance. I don't like it. I don't like it to, okay, what's my growth opportunity here? Very empowering. The second one is, what is my control here? What can I do next? So when I was complaining about the weather, the governments that are not doing anything about global warming, well, what can I do to actually make my carbon footprint smaller? And well, recently I got my first electric vehicle. Very happy. I'm kind of feeling like I'm driving without a bad conscience. And I know electric vehicle, by the way, it wasn't a Tesla. The electric vehicles can, also have a negative environmental impact. I agree with that. This is not 100% all beautiful, but at least when I'm driving, I have a feeling that it doesn't really, impact the environment. Plus, I can charge it with my own solar panels. So that feels good. And maybe when you have been complaining, you can also realize, okay, what can I change? What is possible for me to change? And then the third one is, how, if I would be empowered, if I'm envisioning my most empowered self, how would this empowered self respond to this situation? So if someone, for example, upsets you and you are going into silent complaining mode, well, maybe your most empowered self would say, well, maybe this person didn't realize that they upset me. So why don't I calmly express to them, when you did this, when you said this, it really made me feel dot, dot, dot. And so giving yourself a voice, that would be wonderful. Or if you have been complaining about, let's say getting older, looking older, then you could also say, okay, what would the empowered self say? The empowered self would probably say, hey, I'm embracing my age. I do whatever I can to stay healthy and, also take care of myself. But every day, every year I live is a gift. It's an honor. And the fact that my body continues to keep on going and carries me through life, that's something I need to appreciate and not just criticize because, well, maybe I'm not as fit or not as pretty or whatever. So we have the interrupting the pattern, and then there is also the, when you're complaining, these three questions. But then there is also when you're not complaining. Let's say you have other negativity spirals that you go into, that you go into the positive proof method. And the positive proof method is kind of a, refocusing. So you look at the glass half empty and then you say, well, from this perspective, it actually looks glass half full. So that's, the proof is there's still, let's say, half a gallon in this container. So the half a gallon, that is actually a lot. And that's a positive proof that it's not empty. Now, when I was hiking, I had the recurring thoughts, I cannot do this. It's too hard. I'm getting too old. Why am I doing this to myself? This is not fun. And the person who takes care of our animals, our home, does she really do a good job? Maybe not. And so the positive proof goes then into saying, well, is that really true? So for, I cannot do this, I said to myself, I have walked on this trail already 1,000 miles through the years, and I always got to the end. And then according to, I'm too old, according to my smart scale, I'm only 48. Hooray. And then it's not fun. Well, there's nothing else that I would rather do than spending time with Danielle on this trail, meeting nice people, seeing beautiful sceneries, and every day feeling accomplished and, kind of spent. So that helped my mind. And then, of course, the last one does, the person who does the house sitting do a good job. Well, she has been doing a job for the last 8 years. So I know she always comes through and she always takes care of everyone. So there is even no need to question that. Now, the thing is, if you have positive evidence, which takes a little bit of mental work, I know, especially at the beginning, but eventually your negative brain gets it. Okay, I guess we are not going negative. I guess we go more to this more bright side way of looking at life. But it works only if you have positive feelings connected to it. So I needed to add the emotions, and I needed to anchor those emotions in my body. And what that means basically is that you are not having the feeling in your head. You let it actually drip down into your body, and you feel it in your chest, in your belly, in your shoulders, wherever they feel the strongest. And then you hold those feelings. You can name the feeling even. You can even say, I feel relieved, or I feel confident, or I feel I have fun, or I feel appreciative. And then you feel it for 10 seconds, hold it for 10 seconds, and then it's anchored in. You can even, I love this trick, you can even imagine the anchoring happening with the sound of a car door closing, like buck, and then it's in your body. And when it's in your body, it's easier then also to bring these good feelings back. Now, all of this to say, when you interrupt, when you go into these, either question asking or the positive evidence finding and then anchoring the feelings in, what this does together is that your brain gets actively worked with. We are such gym rats. I mean, many of us. We just love to go, spin around and lift weights and do all these things, do yoga, Pilates. But with our brain, we are really lazy. We're not really getting into the idea that, what about a workout for my brain? How can I make my brain actually, get stronger, more resilient, be more flexible, shift around, reprogramming it, all the things we can do, we don't do consistently. Maybe because we have to do it on our own and we are more motivated when we are around others. So, well, since you're watching this, maybe you can imagine all these other people that are watching it with you also being willing to shift the way their brain is acting, making their brain stronger, making it more, going in the direction of focus that you want. And then maybe you want to have an accountability partner, just like I have Danielle, to also really work on this. Let's get out of this negativity. Let's get more into this rewiring into a more positive mindset. It is something that can really click in a short amount of time, and all of a sudden you realize, oh, I am actually so much more positive. And it really does change how you see yourself, how you go through life, how you connect with others, and certainly it's increasing your enjoyment factor. So remember, next time you're negative, start here. Hi, Dr. Friedemann here. Thank you for tuning into my YouTube channel. If you're interested in learning more about fear and anxiety, here you'll find guided meditations, webinars, and interviews with some of the most renowned experts in the field of empowerment. Delve into the over 230 videos and more to come every week.